Yesterday, we read this book called The Monster Pumpkins. And yesterday, we found the two main characters that are in the book. So, who can remember the names of the main characters? All right, this character is named Bonk, and this green monster is named Lurk. And they are the main characters. Now, remember I told you yesterday, we're going to start to analyze the characters today. So one way that you can analyze characters in a story is by looking at what they say. So we're going to start, and I'm going to get the highlighter. And since Lurk is green, we're going to go through and look for the things that Lurk says, and we're going to highlight them green. All right, now, when you're looking at what a character says, you want to look for these little marks here. These are called quotation marks. And when an author puts the exact words that a character says, he uses quotation marks to mark the beginning and the end of what they said. And you can see there's quotation marks at 3 places on this page. Now, let's read to see if we can figure out who is talking. Let's have a contest, says Bonk to Lurk. So who is talking in this sentence? Look at the words, says Bonk. So this is not Lurk talking, this is Bonk. And then it goes on to this one. Grandpa gave me pumpkin seeds, says Bonk. Guess what? Bonk is still talking. Let's see who can plant and grow the biggest pumpkin. So on this page, we don't see Lurk talking at all. We see Bonk. Let's check the next page. The next page, do you see the quotation marks? All right, let's read it. It says, "What will the winner get?" asked Lurk. Here it is. We found it. We found what Lurk says, so we're going to highlight it. He's asking a question. He wants to know what you're going to get if you win the pumpkin contest. Now let's see. I see some more quotation marks. Let's read it to see who's talking. The loser will make the winner a pumpkin pie, says Bonk. It's Bonk again. It's not Lurk. Lurk lips his monster lips. Yum. Okay. Do you see those quotation marks? Who's talking here? We don't see the word says this time, so we have to go back and look at the sentence before it. And look, it says Lurk licks his monster lips. So this right here is another thing that Lurk says. Yum, okay. Now, I'm going to go to the next page, and I don't see any quotation marks. I don't see any quotation marks on this page either. Or on this page, or on this page. But guess what? I see some on this page right here. Let's read it and see who's talking. That is silly, says Bonk. Is that Lurk? No, that's Bonk. But look, I see some more right here. So let's keep reading. My pumpkin doesn't think so, says Lurk. Here's another quote from Lurk. He says, my pumpkin doesn't think so. Remember, in this part of the story, Lurk was giving his pumpkin a blanket and singing to his pumpkin. Okay, there's no quotation marks on this page, but there are on this page. Do you see them right here? So let's read, and then we'll figure out who's talking. They are the same weight, says Lurk. Look, there's some more. Now what do we do? Okay, so the only thing we see on this page is says Lurk. So that means Lurk said they are the same weight, and he also said, now what do we do? So all of this page, everything that's said on this page is said by Lurk. All right. I see lots of quotation marks on this page. Take a minute, see if you can find them. Show me a thumbs up if you see the quotation marks. All right, the first ones we see are right here. And it says, we'll cut up both pumpkins for 2 pies, says Bonk. That's not Lurk talking. Now look carefully at this one. This is a little tricky because it says Lurk looks at his pumpkin. Cut up my pumpkin? He asked. Now here we see the word he. Is that Lurk or Bonk? Whenever you see a word he, you have to go back to see the last name that you read, and that was Lurk. So right here is this question. And this is a very important question for this story and to understand the story. It says, cut up my pumpkin? Lurk asked. If I look at the picture and I look here, how is Lurk feeling? Do you think he wants to cut up his pumpkin? I don't think so. All right, let's look at this last line here and see these quotation marks. It says, how else would you make a pumpkin pie? Asked Bonk. So that is Bonk and not Lurk talking. Now, we don't see any quotation marks on these pages. And here on the last page, right here, it says, here is yours, says Lurk. And then this last line right here, it says, yum, they both say. So this is both Bonk and Lurk talking. So we have gone through the whole story and we've seen everything that Lurk has said. Lurk asked a lot of questions. Was it Lurk's idea or Bonk's idea to do this pumpkin contest? Well, let's go ahead. We're going to highlight, let's highlight Bonk in red since he's red. All right, and so now we know everything else in this story that has quotation marks is Bonk because we've already looked at all of them. So let's go ahead and look at this and see what are some of the things that Bonk says. Bonk says, let's have a contest. Right there, we figure it out. Bonk had the idea to have the contest. Here's something else we figure out from Bonk. Grandpa gave me pumpkin seeds. So Bonk just told us where the pumpkin seeds came from. They came from Grandpa. Let's see what else he says. Let's see who can plant and grow the biggest pumpkin. So now Bonk has told us what kind of contest they're going to have. Now, we already looked at the question that Lurk said. Let's see what Bonk says. The loser will make the winner a pumpkin pie. All right, so Bonk knew exactly what the prize was going to be. All right, we're skipping these pages because there's no quotation marks on these pages. Now let's look. Now remember, Lurk was singing to his pumpkin and covering it with a blanket. What did Bonk say about that? Right here it tells us, that is silly. So Bonk, did he think it was a good idea or a bad idea to sing to the pumpkin? You can show me. If you think it was a good idea, Bonk thought it was a good idea, give a thumbs up. If you think it was a bad idea, give a thumbs down. Yeah, when we see something that is silly, Bonk thought that was a bad idea. Thumbs down. He did not think you needed to sing to the pumpkin or to cover it with a blanket. All right. So on this page, we see Bonk said, we'll cut up both pumpkins for 2 pies. Now remember, Lurk asked the question, cut up my pumpkin? Because Lurk didn't really want to cut it up. So look what Bonk said. How else would you make a pumpkin pie? How is Lurk going to make a pumpkin pie without cutting his pumpkin? That's something that we will look at tomorrow. All right. So here on this page we see Bonk says, here is your pie. And remember, they both said, yum. All right. So we saw today some of the things that the characters said, and that gave us a little bit of information about the characters. We saw that they both liked the pumpkin pie because they both said yum. But we also saw that Lurk did not want to cut up his pumpkin. we saw that Bonk had all the ideas. It was his idea to have the contest. It was his idea to make a pumpkin pie, and it was his idea for both of them to cut up the pumpkins. All right. And we also saw that when Lurk was singing to his pumpkin and putting it under a blanket, we saw that Bonk thought that was silly. But Lurk thought it was a good idea. So today we've learned a lot about our characters Lurk and Bonk. Tomorrow we're going to look at some of the things they did, and we will find out how Lurk made a pumpkin pie without cutting open his pumpkin.